Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
When is a
The ways that
sprout?
the government is defrauded is that the computer systems don't talk to each other. So if the computer systems don't talk
That's not what defrauded means, stupid.
to each other, then you can exploit that gap, and fraudsters exploit that gap to take advantage.
That's not
Not
the
true.
reason that the reason the government computers don't talk to each other is so that they're less easily hacked.
No, they should be all together so that if they're compromised, they'll all be gone.
God, he's such a fucking idiot.
For example, there were over $300 million of small business administration loans.
As Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, ask MTG about those PPP loans.
That has been given out to people under the age of 11.
Well, actually, to add to it, it's 300 million under the age of 11 and over 300 million to over the age of
Who
120.
the fuck is that?
Definitely.
Oh, you don't want to
Small
know.
business loans.
Correct.
Yes. The oldest American is 114. So it's safe to say if their age is 115 or above, they're fake. Or they should be in the Guinness Book of World Records. And we should not be
It's all that ketamine.
You suck.
giving out loans to babies. So the youngest recipient of a Small Business Administration loan is a 9-month-old, which is a very, very precocious baby we're talking about here.
That's a lie.
So obviously,
Got any evidence to back that up there, douchebag?
yeah, where is your evidence? Show me the loan.
Just like he saved $8 billion, that was like $8 million. Yeah,
You can redact the name and the address, but I want to see the loan.
let's see it.
Show me proof.
It's on the website.
Oh yeah, the website. Huh.
it was just fraudulent.
With the website that's constantly hacked and people are putting up whatever they fucking feel like on there because they think it's funny.
And before it was hacked, it was mostly wrong.
Right.
And they do terrible things. They actually will see that a kid's been born. They will steal that kid's social security number and then take out a loan and leave that kid with a bad credit rating. There was literally a baby. The terrible things
Oh
are
my
being done.
God,
Is what we're
Elon.
saying.
You're so stupid.
Children don't have credit ratings. You don't get a credit rating until you turn 18.
No, the kids have bad credit.
That's not how any of this works.
Yes,
He's
it
so
does.
fucking dumb.
And
And
how?
we're stopping these terrible things.
And you can stop it? I mean,
Well,
we are stopping
you are
it.
stopping. The reason this is
Absolutely.
happening is because the two systems are not talking to each other.
Yes.
Right.
Who the fuck is that?
Oh my God. If he doesn't look like some sort of. Dude, he looks like from Prometheus.
He looks like a penis with ears.
Right. And so you don't know at the Small Business Administration that you're giving a loan to a 9-month-old, which happened in one case, because you're not cross-referencing that with the Social Security Administration data that has birth dates. So that very, very simple fix.
So the fact that you guys can't read the Social Security database because it's in a code system that you don't understand, and you don't understand how to how the date that is presented is not the actual date. They give you a legend like a fucking map to tell you, okay, this is how you read it, and they're like, no, it says he's 180. No, that's not what we're saying.
You know, hold on. Continue this. I'm going to look up what you have to put in to get a small business loan application. Hold on.
Yes.
Eliminates tremendous fraud. And that there are multiple systems across the government where the systems are not speaking with one another.
Yeah, Polls got it. Any checks go out and we're cash. That's what I'm saying. Like, prove that the check. Give me some check
Right.
stubs. Pull out the check
Right.
stubs. We should have the other half.
And if you just solve that simple problem, you would solve a huge amount of fraud.
are you
So one of the ways that, like one of the key tricks that the fraudsters pull is that they will use the fact that someone is marked as live, and as sort of just that social security number is marked as live in Social Security, and then get disability and unemployment insurance for a dead person because the database is.
Does U.S. still send out physical Social Security checks? I think so.
Yeah, to some people, yeah, because some people don't have online banking.
Yeah.
Like they don't have. All right, so here are the things that you need, basic things that you need to get any loan from the Small Business Administration.
I'm listening.
Be a real for-profit business.
Okay. I got an
Do
EIN.
business. Yeah. An EIN from the IRS is required at a minimum.
But the 9-year-old did, the 9-month-old did this.
Yeah. Do business in the United States. You also have to actually have a physical presence, a physical business location, which is also, once again, on your EIN. Be credit worthy. You have to have good standing in your credit.
Well, these kids, they have bad credit.
You have to have credit and or collateral to repay the loan. Like you have to tell the Small Business Administration, hey, we can pay this back, if you give us this loan.
Then Kira walks in there and she just brings her Sully doll that she loves so much. Like, I will need $2 million. What do you have for collateral? Sully.
This doll, yeah.
Or her Stitch. She'd probably give up Stitch before Sully.
And last but not least, you need proof that you've exhausted all other financing options. You need proof that banks have turned you down. You need proof that other lenders have turned you down before you go to the Small Business Administration. So if a con artist has gone through all that trouble,
which you could get easily caught in,
to get a loan for
Russell
probably $25,000 from the Small Business Administration. They don't give out loans bigger than $5.5 million, by the way. Then they deserve it. If they can make it so that a 9-month-old appears to be this business tycoon
guru
with good credit and already have an established business in the country, and they've applied to banks already.
Several banks, and been told no all the way down the road. They just walk down the street, dragging their baba behind them, just like, no one will give me money. I could just get my small business started. Where's my parents?
And you know what? They deserve it because they thwarted the system at that point.
That's a hardworking baby.
And that's not even getting into specifics. I'm sure there's specifics that we haven't even talked about that are required for this stuff. So Elon there is just lying.
No, he would never do. He only does things that are productive.
Don't talk to each other. All they got was from Social Security is like, is this person alive? Yes, they're not alive. It's falsely marked. Person is falsely marked as alive in Social Security, but they didn't. But that person, a fraudster can now get unemployment and disability from a dead person.
No, it's called having surviving children and widows. That's not fraud, yes. Idiot.
Yeah, the spousal benefit is not fraud. And I've been getting a lot of calls to the Congressman's office about people who are concerned that their spousal benefits are going to get cut because their spouse is dead.
Or they're orphans.
Yeah, or they're orphans. Or let's say for some reason something bad happened to somebody and they supposed to get Social Security benefits, and then I was dealing with a case this week of someone who got overpaid by the Social Security Administration. And the Social Security Administration sent them a letter saying, hey, we overpaid you this amount of money. We would like that money back. So they already know.
No, they got to talk to the other computer.
I've heard they've clawed back amounts as little as a $5 overpayment.
They don't play that shit.
They don't fuck around. And they do the same thing that insurance companies do for payments for, if you're disabled or if you're retired. They do the same thing for a fraction of the overhead. I think they're saying that Progressive's overhead for the same thing is 11%, and Social Security is 0.5%.
Pretty good return on investment, if you ask me.
95 cents on every dollar the citizens get back in Social Security.
No, we should privatize this so that number can go up to 30%.
Right. It's ridiculous. He's ridiculous.
All the time at scale.
Are you surprised at some of the legal efforts and some of the judges that have weighed in? There's about 8 or 10 now of these cases that are at least temporary holds. They're being challenged by the DOJ.
Right.
Are you surprised by that pushback?
Well, it's the D.C. Circuit is notorious for having a very far left bias, and when you look at
You're right.
the people close to some of these judges, where are they working? Oh, they're working at these NGOs. Oh, they're the ones getting this money.
Negro, you the motherfucker who got all the damn government contracts. You the biggest one getting paid. Talking about some, see, they're just looking out for themselves. Bro, that is the only reason we're even looking at your dumb ass right now. We shouldn't even be seeing you. Be finishing your Hyperloop.
Money. Does that seem like a system that lacks corruption? It sounds like corruption to me.
Last thing, do you guys all see this as a patriotic duty? I mean, is that really what this is about?
God, he's spray tanned to shit. God,
Yeah,
what is wrong?
Yeah.
White dudes, y'all need to start going outside. 'Cause this is getting
Or
crazy.
either go outside or just admit that you're pale.
Just stay with the pale. It's cool.
It's okay to not be tanned all the
You
time.
can be like them fish at the bottom of the ocean. We can see what you ate.
Like, I'm part Puerto Rican, but look at me. Like,
It
I don't go
happens.
outside in the winter. It's cold outside.
Hell yeah. I'll see y'all in the summer.
I ain't doing no spray tan. I don't want to be orange.
It's essential.
Very much
I
so.
do, 100%. I was running 5 businesses in Houston, and
Who
I
the
left
fuck is that?
I left great people to do this, and
Tyler Hassan.
Doge interior department. So he's the dude that's like shacking up in the interior department building, just like sleeping somewhere at someone's desk.
Who takes care of the interior? So all the national parks. So he's the guy making
Yeah.
sure that Yosemite isn't wasting money on paying park rangers.
Yeah, the interior department deals with the national parks and with some Native American affairs.
Awesome.
my wonderful wife said, go for it. And here I am. But I feel like this is me giving back to the country.
If we don't do this, we're sunk. The ship, unless
Says
False.
who?
False.
Says who? The only reason that you're sunk if you don't do this is because you're giving tax breaks to yourself. And you're going to add $4 trillion to the federal debt
That, yeah.
because you're idiots. And we'll just cut taxes for everyone again. That'll work.
not
All
how
the
any
rich
of this
people and the
works.
corporations get tax cuts. We don't need a government.
unless this exercise is successful, the ship of America will sink.
That's not true. And you don't know anything about fucking business.
The
You just know how to
government-
fucking rig stock prices. You don't know how to run
Yeah.
any business. Every time he gets his hands on the steering wheel for one of his businesses, it fucking goes in the ditch. Every time. And then as soon as he walks away from it because something shiny pops up, the rest of his team is able to salvage it. And then he swoops back in like, we finally did it, didn't we, SpaceX? It had nothing to do with your dumbass. It does better when you're not around.
Christy in the chat says Tyler Hassan is a former oil executive.
And he's in charge of the interior.
Yes.
There you go.
That makes sense, right? The guy in charge of the protecting the natural parks where there might be oil under. Let's go get that oil.
Unbelievable.
That's why we're doing it.
Well, gentlemen, I really
Why don't
appreciate
you go?
the time.
Why don't you go dig in Yellowstone? Just all you guys get together and just start
See what
drilling.
happens.
I'm gonna be watching from Chicago with my sunglasses on.
Hassan, Interior Department, you're a former oil company CEO.
No, there you go.
You're
Oh,
reviewing
I see.
contracts before they're approved for funding. What do you find?
Well, Elon and Steve kind of stole my thunder a little bit, but I actually found
Brother, you have no thunder.
I don't think that dude has ever had thunder.
No.
that customer service survey contract. I actually have an example of one right here. I could have done this in high school. And
Why are your hands shaking, brother?
Yeah.
I found it.
Is that bad?
I found it on the weekends because under the Biden administration, there was no departmental oversight within the Department of Interior whatsoever. None.
It's called the Attorneys General.
Yeah, the inspectors general.
Inspectors General. There you go. I
But
wonder where they all went.
he is also lying. Every department has internal review. Every department at every level has internal review. That's why it's called a bureaucracy.
No, but he's getting rid of the nothing.
We are now reviewing every single contract, every single grant, and when things come to my attention that don't make sense, I'm bringing them to Secretary Burgum, and he's been fantastic. He's a
Questionable obscenity. Get your air horn. Tanned used to mean you work outside and probably didn't earn a lot. Still true in Asia. But in the 80s, it became associated with being able to afford to go on holiday. In future, to mean skin cancer.
a businessman.
Dude looks like Matthew Perry's failed son, little brother.
He's very supportive of Doge. It's been wonderful to work with him.
Is the battle between government of decades and decades of buildup and business, which you guys are, is that like a train hitting each other? I mean, it seems like it's pretty disruptive.
Well, this is a revolution. And I think it might be the...
You promise?
I think that he means that one. I think that he actually thinks that he's like leading a revolution.
Motherfucker think he Joan of Arc.
Yeah. he thinks he's like he's the sacrifice on this one, I think.
Oh, there's gonna be some sacrifices.
Might be the biggest revolution in government since the original revolution. But at the end of the day,
These delusions of grandeur, though, like
Yeah, it's not
everything,
even-
everything that they touch is always like the most important thing in the history of mankind. So
it's not
weird.
even the biggest revolution in government since, like, I don't know, the Civil War. Like, you guys are just tearing down stuff for no reason. You're just in there roughing up the place just because you feel like it.
Well, it's and all of this bluster and all of this, like especially the stuff with like the migrants and stuff like that. This is all a distraction. They're just trying to cut their own taxes. That's all this is.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about, oh, look at the waste in the front. Look at all of his companies. Remember when he sat on fucking stage and said, hey, I know I'm supposed to be the CEO of Twitter or whatever, but fuck you, advertisers. Fuck off. If you
Yeah,
don't
I
like
mean-
being put up next to Nazi shit, fuck you. Like, that's
Did
what
you
he
see-
said.
Did you see on Friday that he said that X got bought out by his AI startup company, XAI?
Yeah.
Like, it's
That's-
all a game to him. It's
Yeah.
all fucking. He doesn't care.
No. He can give two shits what happens to this place.
America is going to be in much better shape. America will be solvent. The critical programs that people depend upon will work, and it's going to be a fantastic future. But
Oh, it will be. You won't be there, though.
we're going to get a lot of complaints along the way. Absolutely. You know, one of the things I learned at PayPal was you know who complains the loudest and with the most amount of fake righteous indignation? The fraudsters.
Yeah.
That's you.
You know what else he learned from PayPal? How to get fired.
It's a tell.
You
Some of these
understand
NGOs that are
concern.
crazy, like the $2 billion to Stacey Abrams NGO that basically didn't exist and suddenly gets $2 billion awarded from the federal government. She has, why?
Did they spend the money?
Yeah. If it doesn't exist, once again, show us the proof.
You're just saying shit.
You're just saying shit. Maybe Stacey Abrams did have an NGO, and they got a grant for $2 billion or whatever. Show us the proof that it was a fake organization.
Do it. We'll wait.
You guys are supposed
And
to
there
be
are
the
many such cases
watchdogs.
like that.
I think that most people, common sense wise, would say the fraud's got to end.
Yeah.
They're concerned about the 94-year-old mother who skips a check or somehow doesn't get what
All right, let's do a little prediction here.
All right.
I've seen this, but I don't remember what his answer is. So for the old people who aren't going to get their money, he's going to say that they already got their money.
Oh, I think I saw what's his name, Letnick or whatever his name was, talk about this too.
Oh, his
And-
mother-in-law.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh yeah, if my mother-in-law missed a Social Security check, she wouldn't complain about it because she lives in your house, bro. You're a billionaire."
Yeah. She lives in the
Um,
west wing of the estate.
I have people calling every single day the Congresswoman's office saying, I don't I know I'm going to get my Social Security check, but I'm terrified that I'm not going to,
Yeah.
because they are terrified.
They'll lose their
that-
house. They can't
Right.
They can't move and rent and
Or
all
they're
that
like-
shit.
Or they're like 90 and like that's all they have. That's all their income. That's what they live on. And if their Social Security check is late or not there, that's a problem. Not everyone is fucking a billionaire taking care of their mother.
Well, they already are, so it's time to pull up the ladder.
She's supposed to get.
Right. And what we're trying to say is actually that the 94-year-old grandmother is actually, as a result of Doge's work, going to get her check.
She was already going to get it, stupid.
Yeah, you just made it harder for her to ask.
She's not going to be robbed by fraudsters like she's getting robbed today.
You're the fraudster.
You're the guy. You're the
You.
one who fired all those people in the Social Security Administration and closed down the phone lines. So people have hours and hours of waiting at their local Social Security Administration building.
Which they closed a lot of
Yeah,
And
and they
sold the
fired half the
buildings.
employees there. Yeah, like
and sold the buildings, yeah.
you're the dude making sure that they can't complain.
Right.
And then they call their representative's office and saying, I haven't gotten my Social Security check. What do I do about it? And then we have to deal with it.
Right. So he didn't do it. You did it.
It's ridiculous.
And the solvency of the federal government will
I have an idea. Why don't you fucking pay your taxes, Elon?
Yeah.
That'll
Pay
keep
any-
us. That will keep us solvent. Just you, individually, you pay your taxes. Why don't you just pay 50% for like 5 years, and I think we'll be good. Just do that.
ensure that she continues to receive those Social Security checks, that Medicare continues to work.
And also, you didn't
without
answer the
which
question.
We're all doomed. The reason we're doing this is because if we don't do it, America's going to go insolvent. We're going to go bankrupt. And
No,
nobody's
we're
going to
not.
get anything.
Why are you guys?
I
all
love
doing this?
Tesla.
I mean, you can pipe up, but you don't have to be here, right? I mean, you don't have to be doing this.
I have four.
That's a very
Plus
good
four.
point.
Yeah.
They don't have to be here.
You could
Can they
just
go
go.
away now?
You could
just
just-
get the fuck out.
Just get into your little what's that thing? Deep Horizon submarine. Go see the Titanic. We'll see you later.
Beautiful children, my wife and I. But we have a real fiscal crisis, and this
Who
is
the
not
fuck is that guy?
And what's worse, back to my children and everyone else's children, is we
You got crusties around your mouth. I don't trust you.
are burdening
Well, his
them
name is Tom Kraus.
with that debt, and it's only going to grow.
Steve, there's not a lot of hierarchy here. You guys are kind of all approaching it in different,
If only those computer systems would talk to each other.
Yeah, if
silo.
only.
but with the same kind of goal, right? I mean, this is really Silicon Valley, private sector colliding with government.
Yeah, exactly. And we're headed in a bad path, but then the chance of success
Oh my God.
exists. And just the one that just is in my head right now, which is a fairly mundane one, but I think is very illustrative, is credit cards.
Wait, can we like... His name is Steve Davis, and he just works for Doge. And he's eliminating plastic targeting credit cards in federal agencies, but so they can't spend any... I don't get it. They're doing dumb shit. They're just dumb. That guy is an idiot.
There are in the federal government around 4.6 million credit cards for around 2.3 to 2.4 million employees. This doesn't make sense.
Right.
Right? A department shouldn't have like several different cards for different things. Every person should have a card? What is
Yeah.
he talking about?
Like those credit cards are so those agencies can buy supplies and staff their offices and buy food every once in a while. Like it's not like they're out there fucking buying a Maserati with a credit card.
You know they are.
And so one of the things all of the teams have worked on is we've worked with the agencies and said, do you need all of these credit cards? Are they being used? Can you tell us physically where they are?
I hope they're getting frequent flyers.
Actually, on a different note, the rewards program the federal government has is actually not very good.
Yeah, because they're not out there to hose the taxpayers' money
Yeah.
to get benefits for themselves. It's crazy, right?
That's a whole other.
It's a negotiation.
Sorry, yeah, exactly. But so far, the teams have worked together, and they've reduced it from 4.6 million to 4.3 million. So
We're taking it easy. But clearly there should not be, more. There should not be more credit cards than there are people. Yeah.
Joe,
And Simply Secular Dave in the chat says those credit cards are super trackable and easy to identify abuse or loss on them.
Yeah.
That's why they use them.
It's so dumb.
No, but
They're
what we
so
should do is not give any kind of report about all the cutting we're doing. We'll just lie on our fucking Twitter feed about bullshit that we make up. Never mind the fact that all of those fucking and that shit should be FOIA-able. Freedom of Information Act.
Right.
Like you can just you can ask and then they'll just have to email it to you. It's not hidden. Just nobody cares.
middle level employees, are they seeing a benefit to being empowered by taking out bureaucracy? I mean,
absolutely. I mean, I think what you're seeing is taking the best of Silicon Valley in the business world and bringing it into the
Who
government.
the fuck is that guy?
This is in the best methodologies, and people are inspired, right? Especially on the retirement process, which I can speak to. They've been trying to modernize and get off of paper since early 2000s, very unsuccessfully. Every attempt has gone over budget and been canceled because it hasn't been successful. And so, I showed up and I feel like I'm here because it's an interesting problem. We can use design to solve it and good engineering.
Tons. Holy shit, that's my dad.
And really create a better experience for everybody.
We're talking about elementary financial controls that are necessary for any company to function. So, like, if these...
The government is not a company.
The government is not a company. It
government-
doesn't need to run like a company.
It's not a business.
It
It's a
doesn't need to run
government.
like a business.
Governments can carry debt. Governments can run on deficits. They have to sometimes. Like during a fucking pandemic or a war or whatever we get ourselves into. That's how it
Trade
happens.
war.
You know what the problem is? Is that we're not taxing this motherfucker at like 80%.
That would help a lot of our problems. A lot of our problems.
They're just cutting taxes for these fuckers, and they're not doing anything except for cutting government services for everyone else to try and balance the budget, which they'll never be able to balance. You could cut all the jobs, you could cut all the departments. You will never be able to balance the budget by just cutting taxes.
But
And
if I
then-
just keep reducing the amount of money we bring in, I'll be able to get to my deficit. Look, Tim, if I just keep gambling more of my paycheck away, eventually I'll be able to pay off all my debt. I'm not assuming
Eventually.
I'm not assuming that I'm going to win any of those things. Well, let's just say I eat three $20 bills out of my paycheck every week. That will help me pay my bills because
Yeah.
I have less money.
Yeah.
These guys are so stupid. Like their whole framing is warped. Like they think that taxes are hurting the funding of the government,
Which is the
never made any
opposite.
sense. Like it's the and like dumb with the fucking tariffs. Like how are your brains literally upside down? Oh wait, I got something for that.
The aircraft starts upside down and burning.
Like your brain is literally like mirrored or something. Like it's just like you're just so on the facts wrong. I want to reduce the amount of taxes we take in, and that will help me have enough tax money to pay off the deficit. What the fuck kind of sense does that even make?
I can balance the federal budget in 1 year.
Oh yeah. Hit me.
And all right, here's what we do. We raise taxes
I'm with it.
on these motherfuckers because they're all obviously billionaires or whatever.
Yes.
We force them to pay an alternative minimum tax of like 25%.
What's that?
on
What's
their
alternative
business.
minimum?
So, a lot of these companies like Amazon and whatnot, they pay almost nothing in taxes to the
Right.
government. An alternative minimum tax would be like, well, even though you get all these tax breaks, you still have to pay 25%. Just
There you
flat.
go.
Just, you have to. And then I would give money and people to the IRS to collect the $1 trillion that is outstanding in tax payments that have not been made by these motherfuckers.
Well, Tim.
And there you go. Balanced budget.
Well, Tim, where are we gonna find? Put the chloroform. Hit them. Smelling salts. Just like they'll just black bag you for crazy talk like that. Yeah.
And I would also do the fucking Biden millionaires tax with 25%. Anyone who makes over $150 million. I think that's very fair. On top of whatever taxes you're supposed to pay.
Because I mean, dude, at 125 million, you're not running to the grocery store like, I gotta get here before the direct deposit comes out for Netflix. I gotta make sure I buy my groceries. Like, that's not where you're not there.
And that's not even the most progressive stance you could take, right? That's not even saying everyone should just be taxed at 80%. Corporations are probably all like 50%. Because all they do is take their earnings and put it into stock buybacks.
Yep.
I would also increase the capital gains tax.
Yeah.
There's a lot that you could do to balance the budget without ripping the government to shreds.
And the thing is, even if industries took a hit, and most of them would if we increase taxes on them like that, they'd still have lower taxes in almost every fucking other country, dude.
Right.
Like, it's like, go somewhere else then. You know what I'm saying? Go somewhere else. Go to fucking Sweden, where they're gonna tax the shit out of you. Go to you know what I mean? Go try this dog and pony show somewhere else, and it won't fly. You're gonna pay out the ass.
It's getting to the point where there's no more cuts that can be made.
Right.
These tax cuts coming up are like bare bones tax cuts. They're already paying what, 20% as a corporate tax rate? 20 or 25. I think it's 21. The corporate tax rate is 21%. How much lower can it go?
Right.
Before they're just not. I mean, half of these companies aren't even paying anything
from all their little loopholes and credits and.
Right. The effective tax rate of Amazon, I think, was like 6% in 2023. That's how much they paid.
But if you put that against how much business they're doing, that's the wealth gap.
Yeah.
That's the wealth gap. That's the gap that we don't have health insurance. That's the gap that we don't have universal health care or better senior care, better care for our veterans, better roads, better bridges, infrastructure, water pipes, that's where the money is. Amazon is literally just keeping it. That money is supposed to go into the federal government. That's why we have deficits. Spending like crazy and not taxing fucking super corporations is the problem.
And like the $1 trillion is just like out there because the IRS can't collect it. You know how much money it would cost to end child poverty in this country?
$17.
Like $300 billion. You could claw back $1 trillion. That's just money that's owed to the government that hasn't been collected because the IRS doesn't have the ability to enforce it. And end child poverty in this country and still have $700 billion.
We could all go to Disneyland.
We could all go to Disneyland.
For free.
God.
But instead, we got to listen to this ketamine addict.
If a commercial company operated the way the federal government does, then it would be immediately go bankrupt. It would be delisted. The officers would be arrested. And the changes we're putting in place will enable the federal government to pass an audit. It will enable taxpayers to know where the money is going.
Let's audit SpaceX.
They fired all the people that did the audits.
Oh.
They fired them.
Oops. I guess we'll have to do it.
And know that their hard-earned tax dollars are being spent well.
Elon Musk sitting down for an exclusive interview, a fascinating interview alongside 7 members.
Fascinating is not the word I would use.
That is so hard.
On the retirement.
Yeah. Moron. Moron who literally knows nothing about business. Unbelievable. And then people look at me and they say, well, Elon's got this under control, man. It's like, what, does he look like he's under control? Does it look like he's confident in what he's saying? Why did he, and here's the other question. Why is he just now volunteering his services?
Well, because he paid $200 million to have Trump win the election, and now
why didn't he do it in 2016?
Well, he was not all on board with Trump then.
And then he was cool with Biden. He was cool with taking the money. He was cool with the NASA funding. He was cool with
yeah.
Why didn't you get involved then? Because now you have somebody here who's going to lower your taxes like he did in 2016, and you could really go for some of that. Which is ridiculous, being the richest person on the planet.
Yeah, like how much more money do you need, bro?
Like, he doesn't even know what he's doing anymore.
And once again, the only thing he cares about is for people to like him, and this is not getting people.
Check out some of our other content. We would love to see what you think about the one on the screen right now.